Yeah, thanks, Kyle. Appreciate everybody being here. Let's go back and look at players of the week real quick. Justin Jackson offensively, obviously. I don't only think that's a micro, but also a macro, award from a standpoint of his terrific game. And then, to be able to break the record was absolutely outstanding. Defensively was Brett Walsh, playing a position that he never started at. I thought he was really active, really proud of the way he stepped up. Big playmaker on defense was Nate Hall. Was very active throughout the entire course of the game. And then Cam Green, the way he stepped up when his opportunity presented itself, was our offensive big playmaker. Proud of Charlie Kubander. He was our special teams player of the week, and I believe the Big Ten special teams player of the week. Pretty good day for him, 3 for 3 in field goals, 4 for 4 with PATs. Sam Jarek, O-line, Trent Goins, D-line, and Charlie Fessler, excuse me. Practice players in OD and special teams. We got a special weekend this weekend honoring the 62 team that was ranked #1 in the country in Chuck Logan. Great player for us, team captain, first team All Big Ten, drafted in the 7th round by the Bears and played 4 seasons with the Steelers and the Cardinals. Will represent his teammates as our honorary captain. So it'll be special to have those guys back. We were obviously heartbroken when we lost Era, and have obviously stayed close with a lot of his players and with Katie, and we had hoped that Coach would obviously be able to be a part of this special weekend too. But our thoughts and prayers with the Parsegian family, and I think it'll be a great celebration of Coach's time here and his family when his team gets together here this weekend. Looking to the game, obviously playing an outstanding football team. Kirk and his staff do a great job. I mean, he's the longest tenured coach in the country for a reason. There's consistency, there's toughness, there's physicality, and there's playmakers across the board in all 3 phases. A lot of consistency when you think about Iowa, a lot of physicality. So need to have a great week of preparation, and the guys need to show up, and we need to play a week better. I thought we, improved last week, and my hope is that we can do it again this week. So with that, how about some questions, please?
No disrespect to Maryland, but how much do you think the improvement was just you guys versus, coming out of the bat and playing 2 brutally tough teams in Wisconsin and Penn State?
I focus on us, and I thought we played probably our most consistent game. It's kind of funny when we play bad, it's our fault. When we play well, it's the other team stunk. That's usually the narrative I hear. So I'm not just talking from you guys. I'm just talking in general. So I don't know. Write whatever you want to write, I guess. I thought we played pretty well, though. I thought we played physical. I thought we played pretty consistent. Need to continue to build on it.
What were the keys for the offensive line?
I think that they. First of all, I thought communicated pretty well. It didn't seem like we had very many breakdowns there. I thought we played with a little bit better pad level, not consistent enough. I thought we were able to keep the pocket clean. I think we had about 46% pressure that we saw, one of the highest that we saw all year. And I thought the guys picked things up. I thought Clayton put us in some protection checks that we needed to get into. And then became a threat with his legs, which when you bring that type of pressure, there's going to be holes and scramble opportunities. And I thought he did it just enough to help us be successful.
Coach, obviously stats are for losers, but and one of the measurables that you guys have been pretty inconsistent is, receivers. And obviously we have a deep receiving core, but a big week from the receivers. Where do you think they are from the start of the season to now?
Let's go back. I guess Maryland stunk in the back end. That's why we had a big day. So credit goes to Maryland not being very good, I guess, right? No, I mean, they're just working. I mean, we got a lot of young guys, first-time players that are getting into the mix. I think those guys are developing. I thought the production from Charlie was great. I think you see a guy like Riley Lee's growing each game. The way Cam Green stepped up. I thought Macon probably played his best game. Same thing with Flynn. I just think they're working to get better. I mean, that's where we're at. We're an average team right now. You are what your record says it is, and that's what we are. We're average, and we've just got to keep getting better.
And then the flip side of that is Iowa's defensive secondaries had some very impressive performances. Obviously, that was Penn State. What have you seen on the tape looking at Iowa's defensive?
I just think just overall defensively, I think Coach Parker does a great job. He's been there for all 19 years with Kirk, and the last 5 as the coordinator. They're well orchestrated. They're on the same page. you have to earn it against Iowa. They don't make mistakes. They don't beat themselves. And we've had our share of wins and we've had our share of losses, and this is going to be every bit as challenging of a game for us this week in this series.
Obviously, Charlie was on the field, got a lot more opportunities this week than in past weeks. So you get into a point where you're more comfortable with him, or you just get situations where you're in that range where you're not pushing him out of kind of that comfort zone that you have?
Charlie Kubander?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've been comfortable with him since he won the job in camp. I just think that, situational football determines how I'm going to play things and where I'm going to go. And we've got a plan, pretty early in the week on what we think and expect weather-wise, where we think things are going to go from an ebb and flow of the game, and then you just adjust in game. I thought he played really. I think he's kicked the ball really well. Maybe outside of 2 kicks all year. The first one that he missed, it actually struck it well, just bad plant foot, maybe bad eyes, and then the extra point against Penn State that I don't think he was warm enough and just went out there a little cold. So,
is it comforting, helpful, just add another dimension to the offense that obviously you're trying to score touchdowns, but if you get to the 25, the 20, to feel like you can still have a really good shot to get something on the board with him?
No doubt. Yeah, I mean, just being consistent there. I mean, you go back to when we had Jeff. Jeff was All-American, and that gave you great confidence that, when you got in the scoring zone at a minimum, you were going to get 3 points. And, I like the way that Charlie started his career without a doubt.
When did you decide Riley was going to be a wide receiver?
Pretty quickly into the recruiting process. We told him right away that we thought that that's what his future home was going to be. We obviously had a great evaluation of him, not only running, when he scrambled and in the run aspects of his high school career, but also here. So we had a pretty strong indication of what type of athlete he was.
He came to your camp in 2014, right?
Yeah. I think so. Yeah.
Was it there? I mean, did you see something there?
Yeah, there and then on a high school tape. Yeah, I mean, he was a dynamic athlete. We told him the truth. We didn't think he was going to be a quarterback. I don't think he liked that initially, but I'd rather be honest with the guys as you're starting a relationship and let them know exactly where they stand, and then they can make their evaluation accordingly. So, I think he's going to be a great player here for us.
Biographically, there are parallels to
Ebert, Peterman, Brewer. Yeah, list goes on and on. Yeah, I mean, there's been he's got a lot of similarities
Are
there.
there parallels in the skill level, too?
Well, he's played 6 games, so it's kind of untold story. But, I mean, I think he's off to a great start. I thought he, again, we made a change a couple weeks ago with him being back there as our deep returner, and it paid dividends on Saturday. We're 1 block away on 3 different kickoff returns from having explosive plays. I really liked his aggressiveness and as a punt returner. And, that's what we're looking for, guys, to try to go out there and make a spark and make a play.
And then why did you switch Cameron Green from wide receiver to superback?
Well, we thought, his growth potential when we recruited him. You saw a big frame. You saw a guy that, could potentially be that, but we didn't know. We couldn't crystal ball. We thought initially coming in that he would stay at wide receiver, and then, Mother Nature just took over, and he just kept getting bigger. And I came to him a couple of years ago and said, listen, I think your role is going to be here, and this is why, but it will only work, number one, if you want to do it and if you embrace it, and I think he has. So, great day for him. Like I said after the game, I hope his confidence goes up from it, and I think he's really been working.
And one last thing. How does an athlete benefit from having a parent who is an accomplished athlete?
Well, I think, first of all, I think it's really hard. I think anytime a parent has had success, I think a lot of times the children try to live up to that success and that expectation, which is probably number one unfair. I mean, I think you take great pride as a son or a daughter in the fact that your parents maybe had some success as an athlete, but with that maybe comes some undue expectation. And I think from my perspective, with I'm assuming you're talking about Cam in specific. From the day he's been here, I think he's handled that really well. He's always been a very humble young man that I go back to when he was in high school, how giving he was, and his willingness to really be involved in the community up there at Stevenson. I mean, it was really impressive to see the type of young man that he was and now that he's become. And I still think there's just a ton of growth that's going to happen for him here in the back half of his career.
It looked like Clayton Thorson did a much better job of stepping up in the pocket against Maryland. Was that something you worked on with him this week during practice, or just sort of a product of the offensive line blocking better?
Pocket awareness, pocket mobility are things that we work on every day. So nothing new this week. I think he just performed pretty well in that circumstance.
All right. Patty Fisher, tell me about his recruitment. Obviously, you guys do well in that area.
Yeah, we do. There were 3 guys in his class, and I think it was one of those that when you look, I think we were really fortunate. I really do. I think we were fortunate. I think Batesy did a great job recruiting down there, but I think we were really fortunate. I was shocked that he wasn't being more heavily recruited. I thought from a size, speed, production. Wow. He jumped off the tape to me. It wasn't like you don't make a stop at Katy High School. I mean, it's like Loyola or Mount Carmel or, some of the powerhouses. Carl Sandburg, you're stopping there, that's what you're doing. And, just very, very thankful that we were able to build a relationship with him. And, I was really impressed with how both he and Godwin handled last week. I thought their attitude was great. Obviously, we both were disappointed that they couldn't play in the first half. First time we've had that happen. I think we'll be better the next time. I thought we had a good plan getting them warmed up. We charted specific things to each position, and then went over that at halftime with them. And then I thought both were pretty active in the second half, especially Patty.
Couple questions along those lines. With Patty, was he emotional last Saturday after it happened? How did you handle him during the week?
Yeah, he was really emotional when it did happen. He was really upset at himself. And that's when I try to settle him down and get him to smile on the sideline. He was really upset. He was disappointed that he didn't lower the strike zone. He was disappointed that he's letting his teammates. I mean, he was really, really emotional. At that point, my thought process was to settle him down. And after the game, he was still pretty salty. And then I spoke to he and Godwin at length on Monday, kind of about what we thought our plan was going to be, not only in the game Saturday, but then how I wanted him to prepare. And I thought both handled it really, really well.
Ejections for targeting are up significantly this year. Mm-hmm. Do you think that's just because it's being called more tightly, or do you think it's being committed?
It's almost you almost have to look at each play as its own entity. I mean, I really do, and I think number one, again, I'm not changing my stance because a couple of our guys got called for it. I think it's the right call to eliminate that play out of our game. I do think it has to be, though, if it's going to be an ejectable offense, I think what it says, it has to be forcible contact. Especially maybe with Godwin's, I'm not sure that was forcible contact. And I think the play has to be looked at of itself within all those parameters. But, hey, that's what was called, and that's what you play. So, I thought Jared stepped up really well in the first half.
I talked to Carlo about it. I mean, he also said major examination after the season because kind of like what you say, I mean, there should be a 15-yard penalty without an ejection, and there is, but maybe the officials are not using that one enough, like to have a higher standard for an ejection.
Again, Teddy, I don't think I'm going to change my stance on the overall feeling of the call. I think if it goes to replay, it's got to be evident. We have the replay for a reason. It's to make sure, and on the field, man, that's a bang play. And I'm not sure. Again, I try to put myself in players' roles and what it was like looking out of the face mask. I try to put myself in, our great Big Ten referees' shoes, and most of those are bang, and I could see why I would call those. And Godwin, like in Godwin's in specific, he lowered his head. I can see right now, it's like when you're trailing a guy on a punt return play, you're a suspect. All eyes are going to go on you, and if the guy falls forward, you're going to probably get called for it in the back, even if you didn't touch him. He lowered his head, and then he went, "Uh-oh, I'm in a bad position," and he turned, and to try to avoid the contact. Maybe should have been a late hit. Okay, I mean, sure, but I just think we need to use replay to make sure it's right, because taking a game, that's a pretty severe penalty. So I think we need to be able to see it on replay and say, "Yep, that's absolutely." And like Patty's was a textbook. I think that'll be on the teach tape of exactly what not to do here, and probably on the same thing for the officials. But our officials do a great job. I mean, we've had them now all but one game in our league, and you got speed, you got tempo, you got things flying around. I think they're first class. Their communication's great. Like anybody, I reserve the right to be wrong when I'm wrong too. I mean, there's sometimes I see some things and I pop it on tape and I'm like, well, I was dead wrong. Or the guys up in the box are like, hey, that was a this, that was a that. And I start talking to them and I watch it on the plane or the bus or at home and I'm like, golly, So then the next time I see the guys, I tell them, hey, we were dead ass wrong on that one call. So, it's human. I think they're trying to do a great job. Billy does a great job with those guys, and I think they're first class. So we just got to coach better, and we got to play some plays better. And the targeting is just one of them.
What's Garrett Dickerson's health like? I know he didn't play that much on Saturday, and sort of in a connected question, how did Cam Green step into that role? He was sidelined. Yeah,
I think Cam really stepped up. I think there's some plays that Cam will learn from, some point of attack and cutoff blocking opportunities that he had that he needs to be better at. There were a couple route things. I thought it was great effort that he gave on the 1 3rd down play. Ran through contact. Those are 2 big yards to get a first down. I thought that was a big play for him, because I think his confidence went up after that. Garrett was feeling great today. He ran around and walked through, so feel good about that.
Coach, since the Duke game, the front seven really seems to have increased its play and really stopping the run, especially. Anything change after that, or just experience, or what?
I don't think we were bad against the run and Duke. It's going back to your comment, stats are for losers. The longest rushes of the day were by the quarterback scrambling. And then, we ran out of gas a little bit. We were on the field for over 100 plays. So that was more of a team issue than I think it was just our defensive front seven. I think Hank and the staff do a really good job of understanding what teams are trying to do and maybe then where they'll go. We did not fit everything very well on Saturday. We had some issues that we worked hard to correct today in the run game. Hopefully we'll make those adjustments and then learn from that. And when they come back up again, they may not come back up with Iowa because of just schematics on what they run. And then you got to get back on the horse again and get ready to go against a real physical, offensive line and fullbacks and tight ends at Iowa, and get ready to fit their schemes properly. And so that work is in earnest right now, without a doubt.
Coach Akram Wadley at Iowa, this will be your 4th time seeing him.
Yeah, thanks. That's why I'm going gray.
He had a big day in 2014.
Thanks again.
An even bigger day in 2015 when he came out here. Mm-hmm. Then last year, you guys sort of balled him up 35 yards. Mm-hmm. First of all, what are your impressions of him? How dangerous is he? Mm-hmm. And second of all, do you feel like you have a little bit better feel of him now that you've seen him over and over again?
Well, it doesn't matter what feel I have. It matters how we teach the guys. I think he's a great player. I think, again, this is a running back league. Every week you got to show up, and you're playing against a great back. And, now this is 4 weeks in a row that we've seen great backs. And I don't think it's going to stop next week. I'll worry about that on Sunday. We got our hands full. There's no doubt. He's a great player, and he's a threat in the passing game, big time. Big time. He's a great player. He's a great player. I think he probably gets overshadowed a little bit because of the other. You got a Heisman Trophy candidate at Penn State. You got a freshman who's doing all kinds of awesome stuff at Wisconsin. JJ. I keep going. Johnson at Maryland. It's Scott at Michigan State. There's a lot of great players. I went in and play Ohio State or Michigan. Jeez, it's a heck of a league right now with running backs.
Anything else for Coach?
Terrific, guys. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Have a great day. Go Cats. Thanks.